All right. We're on.
Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to So What's Your Story? I appreciate you for getting on. Can you start off with what's your name and give me a brief synopsis of, what you do?
Hmm. Well, I'm Lindsey Epps Tucker. I mostly go by Tucker, but some people love calling me Lindsey. I answer to both.
Okay.
And I am a retiree who decided to branch out on his side hustles and do it full time. So, first and foremost, I'm a photographer, and I'm
Okay.
also a video editor and an audio engineer. I help people create and edit and promote their podcast. I'm also a graphic designer and I build websites. I've built several major ones in this area. Let me
Nice.
see. Because my boy Jarrell says I do so much and I don't think I do enough. No.
All I hear is I do this, I do this, I do this, I
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah. And let me see here. Yeah. I do photography, I do video, I do audio, I do podcasts, I do websites, I do graphic design. I don't really do logos, but I have been kind of dabbling into that. And I also help people set up and purchase gear to, I don't purchase the gear. They come from me for recommendations on the gear that they should
Yeah.
use for their podcast or, editing and things of that sort. So I just stay busy, I created my company in 2021, Lindsey Epps Media LLC. You can pretty much see everything I do at the site, which is lindseyepsmedia.com. Or if you follow me on social media, my personal is Hey Uncle Tuck, because it seemed like I'm so old now, and all the young cats always
It's
say
like,
Hey
oh,
Uncle Tuck, so I'm Unc now, It feel like
okay.
I just had Unc, but now it's like I'm the Unc, so now I gotta get used to that. So
All
that's
right.
something
All right.
else.
Good, good, good. All right, so y'all already know where to go if you need some help in those areas. Now we about to dive deep into your family life, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So growing up, how would you say that you grew up? Would you say that you grew up impoverished, middle class, you were well off? Did you grow up in a two-person household, one person? No household. Give me a little history.
Oh man, well, I am the youngest of five and the only boy. Uh,
Ooh.
I grew up in a household with both parents, and like I said, I'm the only boy. I have four older sisters. We were definitely middle class. I was born out there in Newcastle, in development called Oakmont, like right off of Route 9. It's kind of like we're kind of crunched in the middle between Dunleave and not too far from like Simon's Gardens, Rose Hill, Overview Gardens, Garfield Park. So all that's in that area. And at the time I was coming up, because I'm a kid of the 70s, I'm Generation X. So
Right.
um, it was definitely middle class, and we had heat during Christmas and stuff like that. So I can't say we were in poverty, and everything was definitely good and stuff. So my family makeup is kind of funny though, because my dad side of the family is a mixture between and it's a mixture between Irish and West Indian, and my mom is more of Creole and Jamaican. So it was some interesting times in the house, man. It definitely was some interesting times.
Do they cook?
Yes. My mom cooked, but actually my sister, Debbie, who was the second oldest, she was the cook in the family, but my mom did cook though. Yeah, my mom cooked. And my dad, he had this incredible talent for making cakes from scratch. Oh man, we used to fight over that batter and everything like that as
Oh,
kids. Man.
nice.
Oh
Nice.
man.
Nice. So
Yeah.
that's an interesting family makeup. So the first thing I was like, do they cook? Because that sounds like some good food right there.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom wasn't she wasn't like the traditional Jamaican cooker. She cooked because she had five of us to feed, but it wasn't like, she wasn't that heavy in it. Like my sister Debbie, when I was younger, she was the one that was heavy in it. Like, so she pretty much took the helm on that and everything.
Okay, sis. Did you ever have like arguments with your siblings? How far are you off with the age gap between your siblings?
Oh, see, well, it definitely was an age gap because I was a change of life baby. Like, I think my mom and dad was going through some hardships, and
Oh,
I guess Pop wanted one more round before he made up his mind he wanted to go, and then here I come. So they stuck it out, and they actually were married for 69, no, 70 years before my mom passed. My mom passed in 2020, and then my dad passed in 2021. So yeah, they were married about 70 years.
wow.
And they were the typical married couple. Like they were all lovey-dovey as I remember when I was younger. But as I got older, Pop had his room, Mom had his room. They would act like they didn't care about each other, but the moment one of them got sick, be like, "Yo, check on my baby," stuff like that. It was they were married for life. Now, my story is kind of similar to Jarrell's because I was just watching his video that you did with him. The
Hmm.
gap between me and my older sister is 20 years.
Okay, okay.
And then the gap between me and the youngest child is 9 years. So yeah, so my parents were I know I know he said that his parents was born in the 40s. Mine was born in the 30s. So, because I'm 53. So yeah, so they were definitely older. And it was kind of, it was different coming up with older parents because I guess they were so tired of what the girls put them through. I got away with everything.
I
I got away
was
with
saying,
everything.
it's probably a whole different parenting at that.
Man, I got away with everything. I was spoiled. Like I was having sleepover. I was having
Uh-oh.
co-ed sleepovers and stuff. It was like by the time I came in the picture, they was like, "Yo, hey man, he gonna do what he gonna do. He's a boy." And my mom, I always hear from my sisters that my mom wanted me the most. She wanted a son because, like I said, she had four girls, and my dad didn't have any living male relatives on his side. Like the older ones were pretty much dying out by the time I came in the picture. So it was
Mm,
mostly like to have me to at least carry on his name and his legacy.
right.
And then I wind up and not only have just a daughter, and Lord knows if she gonna produce something. She that my baby girl, she living her best nomadic life right now.
Yo. So how old is your daughter?
She's 23.
23.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
she's 23. Yeah, she came around when I was like 30. And she she's my baby girl. When I would say I got sole custody of her when she was about 11.
Mm,
It took me a couple years to get her from her mom, but I got sole custody of her, and she pretty much grew up with me. And it was a big change going from like the weekend dad to the everyday dad. So, we had our little squabbles and stuff then, but her and I are definitely at a good place. And, she constantly hits me up all the time and, shows me pictures of her and her girlfriend. They live out, I think, Colorado. So they're enjoying, like I said, she's enjoying her best nomadic life because she was just in Texas, and before Texas, she was just in South Carolina, and before South Carolina, she was in New York. So I'm like, yeah, she living her best nomadic life.
okay, so that's kind of interesting because you grew up with a two-parent household.
Mm-hmm.
Your daughter grew up basically with a single parent household.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
like she's my only child, but her mother had three others after her, so she's the oldest of four.
okay.
And like when she got a little older, like I said, I became the everyday dad, and we kind of used to battle out because she came to me at a time that I was definitely not trying to settle down.
Mm.
So there was a lot of faces, and I told her just don't remember names, because they ain't gonna be around that long. And she asked me about her mom, and I had to be honest with her. I was like, yo, you were my most beautiful mistake because your mom, like I said, and me and her joke about it now, but I still always tell her, I'm like, I swear to God, I think your mom turkey basted me because I don't remember sleeping unprotected with your mother. But then again, I wasn't the one, flushing the condoms down the toilet. It probably sat in the trash can. Who
Oh,
knows? I don't know, but she's here. She's
you
mom.
told your daughter that?
Yeah. I was like, hey, you was the strongest of the ones, she was the strongest of the ones, so hey, you know. But she knows that even though she didn't come into this world out of love, there's never been lack of love for her. So
Okay.
so
Mm.
yeah. And I think, it's a lot of kids around here walking that their parents got the same situation. Like, hey, how that
Yeah.
happened.
Oh man, not the turkey baster. What you
Man, I think she turkey basted me and stuff.
so so were there any family values that you instilled in your daughter, or you just pretty much whatever however you wanted to run it?
Well, the one thing I told her, like, she's a Pisces and she's very, very emotional. And I'm
Mm,
like, how you gonna be an emotional stud? But that's neither here nor there. That's my baby. I try to tell her that, excuses are only believed by the people that's giving them. So I try to tell her, like, regardless of the situation you end up in, it's only going to get better if you get better.
mm,
And, she's seen how rough it was because at first, I think she kind of resented me because when I got custody of her mom pretty much abandoned her other sister to her dad, and she took the two smallest ones and moved out west. So it was a period of time that she didn't see her mom or her siblings. So I think she kind of harbored that against me for a while. But then as she got older, and I guess she started telling and sharing her story with more of her friends, I guess they kind of told her, it was like, look, for your dad to be a single black male who's several years older than your mother to get sole custody of his baby girl with no woman in the house, your mom had to be a piece of work,
mm.
like basically. And she didn't understand that, but as she got older, and she was like, yeah, it is pretty bad because usually when a father goes for custody, the first thing out the judge's mouth is joint, is joint custody. But
Mhm.
our situation was so dire that that judge felt as though my daughter's best interest will be served with me being the primary custodian.
Right, right, right.
So
Oh,
that's where that's at.
so do is your family tight? Like, do y'all get together?
Um, Sadly, we don't get together, but I will say this: out of all five of us, I am the one that everybody loves. Like the
Just
old,
saying it.
yeah, like I'm the one I can go to anybody's house and they love me to death. Like the oldest and the second oldest, they don't get along. The second oldest and the middle girl, well, the middle child, they don't really speak because the middle child's cool with the oldest. And the baby girl does her own thing, but she kind of deals with the middle girl a little bit more. And the second oldest, she deals with a little bit, but she really don't talk that much with the oldest. But
Oh
me, I get
my.
along with all of them.
I was about to say that's hard to track, but
Yeah.
all you know is you get along with
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, like
So
it's
that's my
nothing but it's
goodness.
nothing but love when I show up, and like on my father's deathbed when we were all like that was the last time all five of us were together, and he basically told me that he wants me to make sure that I look out and take care of them because the one thing I will say is that I look a lot like my dad, and especially like when I wear hats like this because my dad used to wear hats like this all the time, and I do FaceTime with my sisters, they get real emotional because they
Oh,
think they're looking at him. It's just I'm bigger than my dad. My dad was, he had an athletic build and stuff. I don't know where this must came from my mom's side of the family.
yo.
So yeah, but yeah, they especially around this time of year, where you think we would get together, but nah,
Okay.
like I'll get invites from them, like, come on over, get something to eat or this and that. And now that I'm going into, well, actually I'm in year 5 of my longest running relationship, which is funny in itself. I mean, I'm glad
Woo-hoo!
I'm I'm glad that,
Shout outs.
huh?
I said shout outs.
Yeah. I'm glad that, you know, my girl got a chance to meet both my parents before they left, and they both approved of her. And
That's
even my mom, I remember my mom being, sick and on her deathbed. Remember her telling me, like, you need to marry that girl. I'm like, why get married? That's a whole different subject. But I'm like, I remember my mom talking about, if you need money for a ring, go into the safe and stuff. I'm like, Mom, you ain't got no money there. What you doing? And I remember my dad just telling me, like, pretty much don't mess up. So
okay.
so
And
so we 5 years in, she ain't got
sound
rid of
like
me
you ain't
yet.
messed up yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's relationships is hard, and plus, like, I dodged it so long. Like I said, when me and her, when her and I got together, I was I was 47 and was single. Like, I had situationships. I had situationships that lasted a couple decades and stuff, but never anything where it was publicly known that's who I'm dealing with. Like, she is the first one, and a lot of long-term friends of mine and everything is like, wow, we didn't see this coming. And it's funny because at first we didn't like each other when we first met. We did not like each other at all. Well, I, I ain't gonna say we dislike, but we wasn't fans of each other.
So
And,
how did y'all meet?
well, it used to be this restaurant on Market Street called Twisted Soul, and I knew the owners, and they requested me to come build a website for them. So I was pretty much there every day, like taking pictures and coding at the bar. And she was like one of their lead bartenders. And I asked her for an old fashioned, and she gave me the old fashioned. And I asked her, I was like, yo, it's not balanced. And she looked at me like, what you mean it's not balanced? So this is not well balanced old fashioned. You went really heavy on the whiskey and really heavy on the bitters, where it should, like, I started telling her about her job. So that tells you how we started off. So then I said, well, you know what? Since you can't make the old fashioned like I like it, how about you give me a bourbon and Coke? So it was more bourbon than Coke. And I was like, you know what? You must be a hood bartender. You bartend in the hood a lot. Boy,
Yo.
she tore into me that day.
Like who you think you talking to?
When I say she tore into me, she tore into me. But through all the shenanigans, we ended up becoming friends, and then we become, lovers. And I truly believe she's my happily ever after. So that's where we're at with that.
Nice.
And she's very supportive because, like I said, these last couple years, like I said, when I retired from my day job, there was definitely a salary decrease. And while I'm trying to build this up, it has definitely been a struggle. And she's definitely been there the whole time. She's helped out where I needed help, and she's given support when I needed support. So, I'm thankful for that, because one thing they don't tell you about when you go self-employed is that, you're always on the clock. You're always on the clock, and you don't have any days off. Like, I don't have any PTO. If I want to take a vacation or something, I have to, knock out a lot of work, because I don't want to come back to a whole bunch of work. And then I have to be selective on when I pick up new gigs, excuse me,
Mhm.
because I don't want those gigs to sit dormant while I'm on vacation. So that's,
Exactly.
that's like I said, you're constantly on the clock. Like, and
It's
I
hard,
love it.
but it's
And I love
good.
it.
Yeah.
I love it,
Get to make your
because,
own hours.
and the one thing that I don't miss, like, I miss the people that I used to work with, but I don't miss the office politics. I don't miss being told what to do by somebody that look good on paper, but they're shitty in person,
Oh my.
or garbage in person. Like, they look real good on paper, but they don't know what they're doing. Like, you supposed to be the boss. Why are you asking me how to do this? I don't get it. Where did they get you from? But also, working for myself has helped me, meet more people. Like I said, I have I have a bulk of clients from overseas, so that helped me get the discipline up because like my clients that I was working on some projects for today, they're over in London, so they want to have an 8 o'clock meeting. That's 3 a.m. here.
Mm,
So I have to get up like 2 and get myself together. Like I'm, get myself together and get all my notes and stuff. And they're all bright eyed, bushy tail, probably on their third or fourth cup of coffee. And I'm like 3
right.
a.m. I still hear crickets outside,
It's
and
gonna be worth it though.
yeah, yeah, because they definitely keep me busy and they definitely refer more people to me. And the one thing that I used to always think, I'm like, why would they want to work with me and I'm so far away? But with the pandemic and everything, we're remote. People just want the best people to do the job wherever they're at.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, yeah.
although, like I said, my client base is starting to build here locally. My client base was built from outside of Delaware long before. Like by the time people found out what I did or what I do here in Delaware, I was already, a year and a half in business. It was just kind of like a word of mouth thing, or people would see my podcast and be like, well, who did your podcast? I was like, I did it myself. And they'd be like, well, who edited it? I did it myself.
Okay,
And I
okay.
tell people, I'm like, I've been a computer kid since 1983 when my mom actually broke the bank to buy me my first computer system. And at that time, you had to piece everything together: the monitor, the keyboard,
Mhm.
the actual CPU, the floppy disk drive, the dot matrix printer, the desk,
He
the
taking us
chair.
back.
Yeah. And I remember having a 900 baud modem where we had to let the telephone company that we were using the modem, and you would immediately lose connection if somebody picked up the phone in the house. So, like I said, I was spoiled.
Ooh,
They got me my own dedicated phone line, so that wouldn't
nice,
happen. So, like
nice.
I said, I was spoiled, and and my dad, even though he wasn't all gun ho with it, he loved that I was advancing because it's like my dad, like I said, he was born in 1928, and he basically raised five of us off a sixth grade education.
Mm,
Like he's been working since he was like he had to leave school to help his family out. And he never graduated, nothing like that. But he came from a time where that didn't matter because then he ended up taking a job with DuPont. He
right.
worked through them and retired from them. And then after that, he took a security job. He worked for them many years, retired from them. And then he did some custodial work at Ursuline Academy and, pretty much retired from them. Like my pop, like
How,
he was definitely the bull workhorse of the family. And I think I can honestly say all of his children got that work ethic. And even my daughter, even though she don't know how to stay in one place long enough to keep, tenure at any job,
oh
she
Lord.
she definitely works. Like she has no problem going to work. Like, whether she got to work at your local deli making sandwiches, or she's working in a warehouse, stacking boxes, or she's working temporarily at the post office, whatever. She has no problem. She's definitely more me than her mother because her mom never had a job like that. But I'm not on here to bash her mom or nothing like that. But
Yes, don't be on here to bash her mom. So you,
it's
so
not like
you
she's gonna see it.
uh,
So
so was your father the breadwinner?
yes, yes. My
Okay.
mom had, little jobs and everything like that. Like she worked at a department store. I think it was called Woolworths. She worked there for a while, and then she worked at J.C. Penney's. And then my mom, she was cleaning homes, like rich
Hmm.
people and stuff. They, people that were well off for that time would pay my mom. Cause my mom was definitely, she was like the cleaning queen. Like I see my mom clean a 6 bedroom, 4 bath house in like 7, 8 hours,
So
like
she's
by herself, and she definitely,
pro.
had it going on with that. So, like I said, both of them, like my dad constantly worked. My mom, between having kids and raising kids and stuff like that, she kept jobs to help out, when the holidays came around, because they always made sure that we were good at the holidays. Like I've had great Christmases, and one Christmas I remember in particular, my dad, he was a lottery number player, and my pop used to play the underground numbers before Delaware Lottery got uniformed and so big. Because I remember he used to take me to
Mm-hmm.
the spot on the East Side, and he used to play his numbers there. And I remember one year he hit, I'm gonna say probably for about 7, 8 grand. And I remember that Christmas morning, the whole living room was just filled with like gifts. Like I
Oh,
think I was still opening gifts up till like New Year's and stuff. I
you'll never
remember that.
forget it. That's a blessing.
Yeah. And since I was
So,
his only boy, he always looked out for me. He looked out for his girls too, because
but you had the
they had
most
definitely
gifts.
daddy's girls, but yeah, he always looked out for me. I was definitely the family favorite.
Oh. So you said he was working a lot. So
Yeah.
did that mean he was barely at the house?
Yeah, he was at the house, but he was at the house, you go to sleep, and then you go to another job. Like it was crazy because like when he worked at DuPont, he worked during the day. Then he would come home about 5 o'clock. He would come and go to sleep. Then he would go to on the weekends. He had the security job, so he would work overnight there. And sometimes I would go with him because, like I said, I was still fairly young. I don't even think I was
Mm,
8 or 9. So I was, like I said, I was definitely young. But my dad was enough around to raise me, but I just remember him always working. And
got you.
stuff. So it wasn't like, the whole burden was on my mom. It's just, Pop was just the workhorse like that. And the fact that he worked that hard and lived to like to be 92, that's incredible. Because most people were like, well, yeah, he worked himself to death. And nah, my pop,
Yeah.
he passed away. He was 92, and my mom, she was 89 when she passed away. Because it was funny when my mom passed, we were all preparing for my dad to pass because he was in hospice. So we're
Mm,
thinking he was going to go. And then my mom got sick, and it wasn't COVID related and everything, even though it happened during that period. And, her body just gave out. So she passed away in, the family home. And we brought my dad home and thinking that he wasn't going to be too far behind. He lasted almost a whole year and stuff. And he passed away at the house with all of us around him. So, you know, they gave me a really good life. I can't lie. The only thing I wish, and everybody says this, I kind of wish I used all my skills that I have to kind of document them more. Because
mm,
now, we got, these cell phones and stuff. So you can get videos of your kids and stuff like that. I didn't really
yeah,
document them that much, but I had the skill set to do so. So, like I said, I'm not one to live with regrets, but I'm sharing this to say that if you have, your grandparents or your parents and they're getting up there in age, you need to take a day out and just sit there and talk to them and ask them to tell you stories about the relatives that you may not have never met because they
right.
passed before. Like to start documenting your own family history. Don't, wait till
Hmm.
you run a ancestral DNA test to find out I was related to somebody down there,
Right.
kind of like, use these phones for more than twerk videos and ceiling videos.
Hello. And that's why I have my podcast.
Yeah.
So if you were to tell your younger self something, what would that be?
Stay a virgin. Stay a virgin until you met the right one. Stay a virgin.
Oh, you are so raw and uncut.
Yeah, because I could name a lot of bad moments in my life with my Johnson in one hand and some whiskey in the other.
Dios mío.
So yeah, nah, you know what? I wouldn't tell my younger self that. I would tell my younger self to, you know, just do stuff. Just do it. Because one of my biggest issues that I had to overcome was that I always felt that I was never prepared. No matter how much I knew and no matter how much I was doing, I always felt like I needed to learn or do more. And I would have to say that it was Jarrell that came into the picture that was like, come on, just do this. Like when I had first started the Board and DE podcast, uh, I had a co-host, helped me out with that because I didn't feel like I could do it on my own. And then when their schedule got hectic and they couldn't do it, I went into season 2 and I did that by myself. And
Mm-hmm.
then when season 3 came around, me and Jarrell started hanging out a lot more. So he came aboard with season 3 and everything. And season 3 was definitely one of our most interesting seasons, period. And, had a lot of fun with that. Had a lot of fun. And even though, season 4, I'm kind of going back solo, he'll still be around and everything like that. Now, the other podcast I have, uh, your uncle's favorite uncle, Hey Uncle Tuck, I'm just sharing a lot of stories and experiences and stuff because we don't have enough time on this podcast for me to go into detail with everything, but I'll just give you a slight timeline. In the early 80s, I was a computer kid. The mid to late 80s, I was a DJ. The early 90s, I started learning about video. The mid 90s, I started working in uh, adult entertainment industry. I was a bouncer. I worked in a brothel. I did a lot of photography and video editing. Then in the 2000s, I went back to photography, but not in the adult content. Then in the mid 2000s, I started doing more video and helping people build, websites and stuff like that. And then it just kept going on. So I have done a lot. I
That's
have done a
nice.
lot. And I will say this, that anybody that knows me from the 90s in Delaware or Philly or Jersey, they know there was not a bachelor party that happened that you wanted women of color that I didn't have hand in putting that together.
Ooh.
Like
Okay.
it's cats today that they'll see me on the street and they'll come up and they'll speak and I'm like, I don't really know who they are, but they're like, yo, I was locked down with your boy and used to send him all these pictures and all these magazines, and he used to just barter that. He said that he was the king of cigarettes at the jail. But that's for another
Go
time. Like I
ahead.
said, like I said, that's going to be on, hey, Uncle Tuck, your uncle's favorite uncle. I'm gonna share all of them stories because I used to have cats that used to get out and be like, "Yo, man, you look out for your boy." I'm like, all right, yeah, I take you to the club and stuff.
Oh man, I didn't know you was like this.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, all right, so we gotta wrap up
Mm-hmm.
shortly, but I do want to end with this. Um, so if if you were to die tomorrow, what would you want your legacy to be?
If I were to die tomorrow, I would want my legacy to be one that was an open book and that I have no problem sharing what I know. I wanted to be the guy that people say they learned something from,
Nice,
and
nice.
that, you know, my past indiscretions, don't hold them against me, but know that I learned from them. So I was able to teach somebody else to avoid them. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So just leave us off with where they can reach you again if they want some of your services.
Okay. Well, you can go to the website to see everything I do. That is lindseyepsmedia.com. You can actually just Google Lindsey Epps Media, and it's Lindsey with a SEY, not SAY. So I'm on Facebook. You can Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, X, or whatever they call it, fan base, Discord. I'm all over the place. Social media is pretty much what I do. So yes.
Cool,
And
cool.
you can find me on YouTube as, Hey Uncle Tuck, and uh Lindsey Epps Media. I think I did start a page for them, but haven't figured out what to put on that yet though. But yeah, you can find me all over.
I just coughed. Gotta get rid of this cold.
That's what it is. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna let you be great. I'm gonna let you be great. And you know what's crazy? Uh I probably know your folks too.
Do you?
I'm saying that because you have a look of somebody that I went to school with, or somebody I ain't gonna say dealt with, but somebody that I knew. Because you gotta understand, if your parents were born in the 70s, we communicated a lot. Not saying everybody was knocking off everybody, but we had so much stuff to do. Like Delaware used to be a haven for events. Like there was a party every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, we was roller skating, we was dancing, we was cruising the strip, which sounds funny now because I don't even go on Market Street like that. But yeah, it's we probably saw each other like, or like, hey, I remember him DJing at the party or DJing down Price's Park or something. So I wouldn't be surprised if your parents was in the 70s, your parents was born in the 70s and they partied in Delaware in the 80s and the early 90s, we all came across each other.
Yeah, they call my mom Carm Diggy, and she used to be with Ralph Live. So
Okay.
why you?
Well, thank you for having me on tonight and everything. I appreciate that.
Uh-oh.
This is a beautiful thing. Oh man, yeah, I gotta get some more coffee.
Oh Lord.
No, I'm just
I'm
joking
mad
with you.
I start getting sick just now. Listen, this sounds like it's gonna be a part two. So I'll
And I'm all for it. I'm all for it and everything. But yeah, I know you gotta go. So thank you again, and I look
thank
forward
you.
to seeing more of these and everything. And get back to them damn travel videos. You playing?
I got it. I got
You
it.
playing? I used to love your travel
Thank
videos. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take her there. Oh, I'm gonna take her there because I see you get back to them travel
I'm getting
videos
back
too.
to it.
Stop playing.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
No problem.